Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night on this training hour extravaganza. We appreciate you spending your time with us. We're sure going to make it worth your while tonight. We're going to cover some things that have never been covered on a training before. Before I get started, I want to congratulate and commend everybody. Everybody rolled up their sleeves, put the pedal to the metal. The sales this week were like double last week. There's so much excitement with what's coming up very shortly in a few weeks with phase 2 and the last of these emperor spots. I think, people are just selling emperor spots left and right. I literally think there was a double in our team in the sales volume and our check this week. We had our biggest weekly check ever. Some of you guys know how huge it is. I'm almost don't even want to mention how huge it is because it sounds like that I have to make sure I do the income disclosure statements. But my word, we made in a week more than 2 people make in a year, or I guess 1 person makes in 2 years. Just think about that. In this industry, with this company, the possibility of earning in 1 week what takes the average American 2 years, it's mind-boggling. And this week, a lot of new people, too, really stepped up to the plate. You heard me talk about a few people that hit 10K in the first 2 weeks. Bob Klutz was working with 3 guys. Richard's been working with them closely too, and they, we're going to have them on an upcoming training. But I think before they got here with immediately before they got involved with I2g, they weren't doing that. So 10K in the first 2 weeks, it shows you it can be done. I'm seeing amazing things every day when people are out presenting this opportunity, this vision, consistently and persistently. Tonight, Bob Klutz has been a leader in previous programs, and he's only been in our program I think about a month, maybe. I mean, he really got involved at the Anaheim event, and he stepped forward being a leader, and he's such a pleasure to talk to. And before I bring him up, I want to commend him on a trait of leadership that nobody else. I told him he's actually the first person in 8 months who's done this. Oh, and there's Richard joining us. Hey, Richard, I was going to have you go first, Richard, because I know you have another engagement. So let me go now that Richard joined us. Richard's got a big meeting with a new Spanish group. But let me finish up on saying this about Bob, very quickly. Bob is the first person that stepped up to a role of leadership, who came to me and said, Faraday, I want to work with these people that have been placed underneath me, and because I value them every single bit as much as everybody I personally bring on my team, and give me their names and numbers, and I'm going to work with them. I'm going to help them produce. And to be quite honest, I was kind of blown away, because up until this point, not one person has talked to me about working with people that are still a part of your team, but that your sponsors put underneath you. You still earn on those commissions. You still earn on those volume. So Bob is going to talk to you today about a very unique perspective on leadership. But I'm going to get started. I'm going to bring Richard up. Richard has another big meeting with a new Spanish group in about an hour, so I thought I'd give him the opportunity to talk with you. He's been extremely busy this week. As you know, me and Dave are partners with Richard and Susan, and we all have different strengths. And Richard promotes in a different way than I promote. You guys know that I do a lot online. Well, Richard works every bit as hard as me and Dave, and he's hitting the pavement and doing live meetings in California, 4, sometimes 5, I think this week 6 times a week, and really working with Richard's strength, in my opinion, is really identifying leadership, because that's what we're really talking about tonight. Identifying leadership and stepping up and really working with those people. So Richard, first of all, I'm going to bring you up. Maybe you can share about some of the really exciting things that are going on. I know you've been working with one of Bob's guys, Al Powell, that I believe is also one of the 3 10K earners in the last 2 weeks. So
Yep.
please, Richard, give some perspective on what's going on. And we're talking a lot about leadership tonight.
Thank you, Farrah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I do. I already muted myself. We hear
Okay,
you.
got it. No problem. I just wanted to say, Farrah's absolutely right. First of all, congratulations, Bob. But things are flying. What I mean by that is what Farrah just said. Leadership is rising to the top. Right now, the cream is rising with the top. And all we really do in this business is work with leaders. And as Faraday talked about on leadership, I'd like to just expand upon it by saying that the leadership that we work with are people who step up and are people who are willing to go to work. Like in other words, I've been working with Al. The group tonight is maybe a big Spanish group switching over to our company from another opportunity, not because they don't like the other opportunity, but because they think this is just once in a lifetime, which it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But leadership really is you give people direction, you spend time with them and give them a plan, and then step back and see if they execute. If they don't execute the plan, like they don't do anything, in other words, then you know that possibly there might not be leadership. And you need to start to wonder, how do you spend your time? You continue working with them, or do you actually say, hey, maybe they're not a leader? Or maybe they execute the plan, but they fail. That just means we have to readjust them. And I call that aiming and directing them in the right direction. Maybe they talk too much. Maybe they're not, using the Hangouts, third-party credibility, 3-ways, whatever it is. But what I look for in leadership, and what's happening with the groups we're having so much leadership pop up now. There's even Gary Davis made bronze now. It's just a lot of people are going out there doing really well. Are they going out there and are they executing? Are they working? We can always fix somebody working but not doing it correctly. But we can't fix is you just not working. And so leadership is basically people who have good contacts, people who are willing to work hard, and look for direction. One of these Spanish guys said to me, he said, if you can show me what you did, I'm not afraid to work and I know people, is what he said. But just show me what you did. And I'm not saying I can duplicate it, but I want to try to go the same formula. That I can work with. Someone who has contacts, someone who has work ethic, and is willing to go to work. What we're looking for in leadership is you going out there and not quitting. And you love the word persist until you succeed. That means fail your way all the way forward. That means I go out there, I talk too much. I mean, guys, maybe I'm doing like Faraday said, my strength is finding leadership. Before, my strength was talking too much. Really, that was my strength, was talking too much. And so I really needed them to understand that, I failed. People would say, Richard, I'm going to join. Just shut up and never call me again and I'll buy a product. And so that was what I did. That's why I came in the industry. Thank you very much. Never call me again and I'll buy something from you. So I failed my way and I learned. I got a little humiliated, a little embarrassed. But what I had was a strong want to, a strong why. So I never quit. I persisted until finally I learned how to do the business. That's all we're doing, and we're looking. And right now, a tremendous amount of people, whether it's Abe and Shirley Unger, Dan Sylvester, Bob Klutz, Richard C., Bill Sale, we can go on, Al Powell, Ricardo, Manny, Tim. There's so many great people that we're working with. Beverly, Troy. There's all kinds of great people. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody, and I probably have missed about 20. Elijah, all these great people doing great things. But what do? You go out there and do activity. Talk to people. That's all I'm doing tonight. These people like it. So tonight I wanted to do this from my house. I'm in my car right now, halfway to the location. I didn't want to do this meeting, but I do whatever it takes. Why? Because I want to. I plan on doing, on the phone, internet, the whole day, all at home. These guys wanted a whiteboard presentation. They're going back to New York tomorrow. They flew in for another opportunity, didn't like it. And so we're going to go close them hopefully tonight and get them in the business. But that's a want to. I didn't want to. Like I said, I want this business so bad that I'm willing to skip the dinner Susan's making. I'm willing to skip the time with my family to go out and do what I got to do halfway. I'm 40 minutes away from my house. Next weekend, we're having a big meeting in Coachella Valley in Indio, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Do I really want to be out there in the hot summer? I don't know, but I'm telling you this right now. That's where the action is. That's what we'll do. Faraday, I saw her last night do a Super Saturday hangout. That's not normal, but she did one. We do what you want to do. Follow leadership. Here's what leadership does, and I said it in my training. It makes a habit. We're going to aim for 125 cycles, and I sat with this group, and I'm going to tell you that every one of these group members have made at least $20,000 to $35,000 a month. Most of them made at least $50,000 in a month before that we met with, and they sat down and they heard the program and they said, what do you need to do to make the kind of money you're making? And I simplify everything. And I used to not do that. Complication is what I used to do, but simplify. I said, teach everybody how to cycle 125 times a month. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I said, 125 cycles. If you can teach how to do that, that's what we did. We did it in August. We started with it, and that's 125. That doesn't mean you have to do it. That's your goal. 125 cycles. That's 13 embers left, 13 embers right. Not rocket science. You can put obviously a lot of high rollers and players and novices in as well. Whatever it is, but that's what your goal is. If you can aim for that, you get to be the bronze. But if you don't get it, and you do like somebody said, what if I only do 50 cycles? Well, 50 times $60 if you're an ember is $3,000. It's $2,500 if you happen to be a high roller. It's not too bad. Plus you got matching check, fast start bonuses. You're probably making anywhere from $4 to $5 grand or $6 grand a month, even though you failed. So guys, this is really something that we really simplify things with, but we look for those who do. And at some point in the month, you'll see me in the beginning of the month excited about 15 people, maybe 20 people. But as the month goes on, I notice that maybe 8 or 7 or 6, and that's the numbers. That's just what it is, are really executing. That doesn't mean I don't believe in the other 9 or 8 that are not executing. It's just right now they might not be working. They might something in their life. So I stick with the 7 or 8 or 6 people that are working. And then we continue to follow out through the month. And we pick right back up with anyone else who needs it. So it's like tonight, I'm going because this could be a big move. And Bob knows where I'm going tonight. It's going to be a big move. But we're looking for those who are in action. And I tell you, the biggest thing that we don't have, and then that's what Faraday does well, Dave does well, obviously everybody on this call, Susan, Bob, is we don't waste a lot of time. The one thing we have is if you spend too much time with the wrong person, you're going to kill your business. You're out. It has to be somebody who's producing. That doesn't mean I don't like everybody. And I apologize if I'm offending anyone, but I have to make it a habit that my time is valuable away from my family, that if I'm going to spend time away, we're going to spend time away with those who are producing, who are doing the cycles, who are bringing people to the table and sharing the business and doing 3-ways, doing the proper thing, getting somebody on the call and then getting them on enough information to get them on the phone call with myself, Farah, Dave, Susan, Bob, whoever they're working with, and then we close them. But if they're not doing that, we have to also justify, I like you very much, Mr. Jones, and you're a great person, but right now I can't spend a whole lot of time, and that's just the way it is. And some people say, I want you to talk to me. Some people call me to ask me, very simple question like, how do I get a hold of support? Now, if I pick up the phone, obviously I'll tell them, but it tells me something that they're not looking at their back office. All that, get a hold of support's all already. It's easy. Work with those who are doing. Make it a habit of gaining knowledge like tonight. Tonight you're on a hangout. Faraday, Bob, Dave are going to give you some great stuff. Hopefully I've given you something. You're going to make it a habit tonight of getting knowledge. That's what to do. And then you're going to take the what to do that you've learned tonight and put it in action, which is skill. Okay? And that, first is how to do, and then skill is how to do, excuse me. What to do is the experience, and then you go out there and you how to do it, you go out there and do it. And then once you get doing it, the key to everything in life is this. As habit is experience, then you got yourself skill, and then knowledge, skill, and last but not least is desire. Find those who desire, want to do. So you got how to do, what to do, want to do. And that's what you're really looking for, people who want to do. And those who want to do find ways. They don't find excuses, they find ways to get through it. Sorry, Richard. Sorry, Farah. I didn't get somebody on the phone, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bob is a great example. There's been many ups and many downs for Bob, but he never, ever quits. You can count on him being up tomorrow. Not as good a day today, but a great day tomorrow. We've had our ups and downs too, but don't quit. With that, Faraday, you do a great job on these Hangouts. I certainly appreciate you allowing me to share a few minutes on this call. And you guys are doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm going to probably put the camera off, drive, but listen to the rest of this meeting. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Richard. And we sure appreciate you driving and training. But that's what he was talking about. You do whatever it takes. And I got a lot of good, every time I listen to Richard, I always pick up good stuff. Hopefully you guys took some good stuff out of that also. And now we're going to resume with Bob, who's unbelievable. This is the type of guy that you definitely want on your team, and that has the gold mine attitude and puts it into action every single day. So, Bob, I kind of talked a little, I gave you your promo, your intro kind of like before, Richard, but if you could come on and share your perspective on leadership, what it takes, and, you were going to cover a few things that are a little bit different than what anybody on our team has ever covered.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I do.
Loud and clear. Hey, thanks for having me on. My name's Bob Klutz. That's spelled K-L-U-T-T-S. And with a name like that, I have a lot of personality. So I want to thank you guys for letting me spend some time with you. I am going to cover some things on leadership here. And in working with your, if you're starting out and you haven't sponsored anybody at all, I know how that feels. You feel the pressure. You want to get out there. You want to start talking to people, and you got to start working with your upline and work it as a team. Don't work it by yourself. Start getting with your upline, and maybe some of these things that I'm going to share with you tonight, both you and your upline, if they're brand new in the business, can do that. So some of the first few things that you need to do as a distributor to start building your organization and being a leader is start laying the foundation of the groundwork of what you need to do to go fast, okay? We got a little phrase in our group called go fast or go broke. And that's what we do. The I2g opportunity is the fastest opportunity people have seen in 25 years. We have people making $5,000 decisions within 45 seconds to 45 minutes from hearing what this is about. And so with something moving that fast, you got to be prepared. You got to have your foundation in place. So I'm going to give you what I call foundational techniques. Okay, these are foundational techniques. And the first thing that you got to do, whether you've done it already or you're a leader of your group and you haven't followed up with this, is get your group settled up for receiving the information that can help them be successful. Okay, a lot of people just they start receiving a dozen emails. I'm the worst guy about sending out a lot of information. I bet you there's about 25, 50 people in my group who have still got pending emails that they've never opened because I send out so many informational emails. And it's just the way it is. They're telling me that all the time. I send out too much stuff, but I don't care. So the main thing on the fundamentals is set up your receiving files, okay? I'm going to read you a quick list of things that I tell people. Start up a main folder for I2g and have it handy, ready to open up. When you open your subfolder, it should have these subfolder titles: I2g Touch, Online Casino, Songstagram, Recorded Audio Calls. The names of your personally sponsored people, you should have a separate file for each one of them. JPEG images, when you're going out and you're going to place free ads, or you're going to place Craigslist ads, you're always allowed to place JPEG images in there. So have a file where all your JPEG images are right there at handy, so you can be more efficient when you're placing the ads. Leads, L-E-A-D-S, leads. Print ads. So some of your print ad copies, if you get copies from other people, start asking other people, what print ads are you using? And start making a database of print ads. My personal websites. And if you've got different websites right there, keep a file for it. Downline screenshots. Start taking pictures of your home page of your back office, where it shows your left and your right, and every once in a while take pictures of that, so that, and catalog it on what the date is, so that you can keep those and just make that part of your story as you're going and growing. And then you can have like subfolders, like under your recorded audio calls. You can have a subfolder there of sizzle calls, sizzle training calls, vision motivation calls. And you could set up all the different folders. Get with your downline and set those folders up so that you're ready to, as information comes in, just file it and put it in there so that you're organized. That's the biggest help that I had for myself. When I got started with I2g, I was organized right from the start. I made all these folders right here, and then I just started piling information in them and going from there. Now, the other aspect of it, of having a foundational technique, is to start being a product of the product. Start plugging into, if you're brand new, obviously you're starting to build your story. So if you're brand new, one of the foundational techniques that you have to get is what your story is. The anatomy of someone's story is what you were doing before you got introduced to I2g, how you got introduced to I2g, what you've been doing with I2g, and where you want to go with I2g, and include your why. That why is what motivates you every time. And if you listen to any MLM leaders, I've known some of these people have been MLM leaders for 25 years. They still tell the same story, almost word for word, because it's a foundational technique. They tell the same story. Just they add at the end some of the newest things that they've been doing. So right now you don't have that's your story, but when you start talking to people, use other people's stories. That's why it's important to plug into these hangouts, to listen to these people come on, and to especially come on and talk about their stories. Have a notepad handy and just make notes about their stories so that you can repeat them a little bit later when you're talking to people. When I get on a three-way with somebody, I'm going to tell 4 or 5 stories as I go along. And it really helps people relate to those situations. Okay, so the next foundational technique that you need to get on this is you need to memorize certain things and start immediately in memorizing. A lot of people, when they come into this, there is a lot of information. There's a lot of moving parts, so to speak, with the I2g operation and the I2g opportunity. But you only need to start memorizing a few different things to make yourself in the perception that you are a leader. You are a leader in your mind, but when you memorize these things, you're going to be more confident, because now, as you sponsor people, they can come bring their people to you for questions. And let me tell you, when I'm on a three-way with people, they've watched the video, and I'm going to talk more about our system that we use. When we bring a person on with me, almost always they've got different questions, and it's because I can answer practically every question. Now, there are some people that wonderful people that I've been involved with lately, like the Powells, Al and his wife Ronnie, And I got to give it to Ronnie. Ronnie is great. She asked me so many questions I didn't have the answers for that it just made me that much stronger in that sense. So it's just as simple as doing two things. Number one, pull out your, go to your website, click on opportunity on the bar there, and then go down to where all the information, pull out the PDF of the compensation plan, and I'm going to tell you the exact things to start memorize for the compensation plan. But the first thing you got to memorize is your IBO number. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that you ask them for their IBO numbers. I got guys that have been in my team for 3 or 4 weeks. I ask them what their IBO number is. They said, "Hang on, I got to look it up." Are you kidding me? That's the number one thing you memorize. Number two is customer service phone number. Just like my man Richard Anzalone said, you memorize the number for customer service, and you call them when you got questions. Don't call your upline with just benign questions about all that stuff. Call customer service and get those questions answered, and start being start learning what it is that you have to have in there. That's what I did when I first started. I called customer service. You know, sometimes I didn't get through. That didn't stop me. I'd keep calling till I got through, and be nice to these people. These people have the toughest job in the company, and you catch more flies with honey, folks. Be nice. I'm so extra nice that these girls need a 55-gallon drum of insulin when I call. Okay? I'm that sweet and that nice to them. So now let's go here and make some notes of what you need to memorize. If you pull out the PDF of the compensation plan and you look at the chart right on the first page, that's too much information to know all at one time to try to memorize. So we're going to, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So here's how you memorize an elephant. One page at a time. So you go to page 3. These are what you do is you memorize the chart on page 3. And what these are the auto ship prices that you're charged, that people are charged, and the BV number for what the auto ship value is. So you memorize these, and you refer to these as transactions that take place under you. These are transactions that take place under you, or purchases that take place under you. But I call them transactions, and it'll make you sound smarter. Trust me. The BV number is what each auto ship BV value has on that page. So memorize it. The next thing that you could do is memorize the charts one at a time on page 4. The first is the fast start bonus. It's simple math, okay? Rick is brilliant. He set it up as simple math. It's 10% of the amount. How hard is that? It's 10% of the amount. So if it's $100, it's $10. If it's $5,000, it's $500. That's your fast start bonus. It's easy to memorize. The second chart is your binary income. You have 2 items that are the same for all 4 positions, so that makes it even easier to memorize. The only item that changes is the cycle commission, so it's easy. The novice is 30, players 40, high rollers 50, and the emperor is 60. That's what your binary income is on those. So you have 6 things to memorize. 6 things. It's easy. Okay, now we go to page 6, the star matching income bonus, okay? It doesn't read like that, but let me give you a tip. State it just like this, matching income bonus. Say it like that, matching income bonus. You have to practice that, because when you're talking to people that don't have an understanding of what a matching bonus is, they don't know what you're matching. They have no idea. So you have to guide them to make your job easier in the explanation. Say matching income bonus. And I add the word income because just many people are not understanding it. Sometimes you want to limit some of the confusing things that you would say. So you can memorize that. Memorize the pages and tell your people to look at page 5. And this shows someone how they could start at the novice and work their way up in the 5 levels of matching income. And just memorize this. Number one, memorize how many cycles you have to get to the 5 levels of matching bonus. You have to have 100 cycles in a month's time. Okay, that's a qualification. If you're an emperor, your qualifications are waived. If you're not, then you got to pay attention. Then you got to look at the other aspects of what are on there. The money. I mean, as far as the how many personal sponsors that you have to have on the left and the right, and they have to be qualified. What is qualified? Qualified is they have to have a personal sponsor on the left and a personal sponsor on the right. So that's what you have to do. Now, the next one that you memorize is on page 7. These items are, I'm reading this off. These items and anything else, just remember the page number is 7 and tell them to look it up off their own replicated link. Memorize the order of the colors. This is the bonus. This is the bonus numbers for the leadership bonus, okay, on page 7. And it's the associated dollar amount. So just first thing you memorize are what I call the colors, okay? Bronze, silver, gold, emerald, and diamond. And so that you can memorize those. And then then the next thing you memorize is the associated amount. 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, and 500, 100,000, and then 500,000. So once you remember it, now memorizing the colors and the cycle amounts, that's another thing that's good to have, okay? Once you remember that the cycle amounts on these start with 125, just like Richard says, 125 is the bronze, and you got to memorize that it's 2 calendar months in a row. So when you memorize that, start with the 125, and all you have to do is double it in your mind. It's 125 for the bronze, 250 for the silver, 500 for the gold, and on up, okay? And then the other thing that you have to memorize in that is the actively personally enrolled. It's a 5 on the left and 5 on the right for every one of those leadership bonuses right there. So that's what you got to have. But again, memorize customer service phone number 270-605-5151. I memorized that within hours of signing up in this business. That was the first thing I memorized besides my IBO number. Okay, now we're going to transition into the next area of fundamental techniques. The next area of fundamental techniques is when you get started with your people, get them plugged into the system, okay? Plugging into the system means that you're getting them kicked off on a manner that they can duplicate, okay? If people usually duplicate in their system, when they come in, the way they came into the business is how they kind of often think that that's the way they need to come in. So you need to train them on a very easy and duplicatable system. Now, one of the ways that we've had a lot of people coming in the business is we have an easy system that we started. Originally, we started plugging into what Dave said. Dave is a great leader, Dave Manning, in that having the Hangouts, using the Hangout on a recorded basis, sending it out to people on an email, and getting them to look at this on this. So we did this with a couple of our people, and it started working very well. And so we just built on it, and I'm going to give some big props to my man Bill Sale. Bill Sale did 10,000 in his first 2 weeks, and Bill plugged into the system, 24-year network marketing veteran, put his ego aside, said, you tell me, Bob, what's working, what's being successful, and I'm going to do it. And we worked it together in his first week. He got in on March the 20th in the afternoon, and in those first few days, for the first 7 days, he put me on the phone with 12 people, and 12 people signed up. And it wasn't so much because of that situation that I'm doing anything. It's because of how he set it up to get it going, okay? So number one, what you got to do when you plug into the system is you got to make 4 categories of names, get with your people, and spend time with them, talking to them about what their list is going to be. Don't tell them just make a list. Get in there and force them, get them to make that list. So the top list is to go after their warmest, most closest relationship with anybody that has any network marketing or MLM experience whatsoever. These people get what we do the fastest. So go fast or go broke. That's our motto. So Bill, he made his list, and he started going through there. So the next category is the next people of MLM people that you know, but you're not as close to, that you've got their contact information. The third list is all the MLM people that you know that you can have any contact information whatsoever, and we'll go after those in every shape, form, or fashion. And the fourth list are the people that are successful business people that you could show this information to, and we put them at last because these people tend to take a little bit more time in the cycle of making decisions. And because they're not familiar with the MLM business model, they may be attracted to what we're doing, and many are. We've got so many people coming into our team that have never been in networking before that are just loving what this opportunity is about because Rick's made it so exciting. It's so fabulous. It's fantastic. And they love all the aspects of how exciting it is being a digital product company. So, but Bill added a feature here, and I got to give him all the credit for it. Bill called his people, and he was adamant, politely adamant. This is the first step. When you start calling your people on your list, I don't care how well you know them, this is going to make you uncomfortable. Get prepared. If you need to role play it with somebody, role play it, because it will, if you do it right, it's going to seem uncomfortable to you, because it is. What Bill helped me discover on this was that in calling, he was adamant. What time are you going to watch these videos? I'm showing this opportunity to all the people I know. I know thousands of people, so I've got very little time. I need to follow up with you. If you blink, you're going to miss this opportunity. This is unbelievable. So I care about you. I want to make sure you get a chance to look at this. If you decide it's not for you, my conscience is clear. But I need to know what time you're going to look at the videos. Are you going to look at them this afternoon or this evening? Okay, when they give you an answer, you say, what time? I need to know what time. The more you press on them in a polite but adamant way, the more their subconscious is saying, holy smokes, I've never heard them talk like this. He's never talked like this. Oh my gosh. Wow, I might have to look at that. We better look at those videos. I've never heard this guy talk like this. He's told me every time he's talked to me about some other opportunity, it's always the greatest and the hottest and the best, but he's never like tried to nail me for when I was going to watch videos. Holy smokes. So get them, make that a point. Be polite, but be adamant, and tell them the reason you care about them. I want you to see this, because if you miss this, you're going to kick yourself. So I got to give Bill credit for that. When he did that, these people watched the videos. They came back. Because they watched them with that urgency in their mind. They're like going, wow, Bill's onto something here. And they would call him back, and then we'd get on the three-way. And oh my gosh, it made my job so easy. Just being the three-way person, he would introduce me in a very professional way, and I come on, and all I did was answer questions. People, listen to this. People think I'm a great leader for my team because I can answer questions. What did I do to answer those questions? I memorized a bunch of stuff. You can be the leader of your own team all day long. Memorize what you need to be successful on this and those aspects of the comp plan. That's what a lot of people want to know. How do I get involved? What's a cycle? Understand, be able to say it in your sleep. The definition of a cycle. The definition of a cycle is very simple. Your computer is going to collect binary points on your left and binary points on your right. When they go from 0 to 300 and they hit 300 at the same time, they go back to 0. That's the definition of a cycle. Then that cycle, every cycle that is completed, creates a commissionable event. And what rank you are is what the commission is. Okay, and then spit out what all the commission amounts are, all the way up to Emperor at 60. Okay, so that's a key thing on doing that, and follow up with your three-way person. Now, two ways you can follow up. Let me tell you how my man Bill likes to do it. He likes to call them up and say, hey, you got a minute? Because like Dave said, if they say yes, you got them. That's your cue to that you've been given permission to talk to these people. So as you talk to them, you give them, you tell them, first thing, did you watch the videos? You have time to watch the videos? Yeah, great. What did you love the most about what you saw? What did you like the most about what you saw? And when they tell you that, you tell them, wow, that's exactly what I like too, man. That was awesome. Hey, hang on a second. And this is what Bill does. It's exactly what he does. Hang on a second. That he's already told me he's calling me. He three-ways me in, and he goes, yeah, I like that too. In fact, I've got the guy who's an expert on that specific aspect of what you like, and he's an expert on everything else. I want to introduce Bob Klutz, and this is how he would do it. John, this is Bob. Bob, this is John. Say hi, Bob. When he says say hi, Bob, he's told John you can't speak and interrupt. He's told Bob you have permission to speak, and then I'm cleared to come in, and like Bill in that great southern accent of his, he says, I just zip it. I just zip it, Bob. And he just zips it, man. He doesn't say another word. And if you're introducing your three-way person, you don't say another word unless you're called on. So then I'd finish my presentation, and we would just hone in on what they liked. Because people, when they tell you what they like, they're telling you what they want. So that's what you got to do, and you just answer questions on that, and you will just. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And Bill would sit back there, and he would take notes and notes and notes, and then we would confer after the call. He'd ask me, well, Bob, you said this. Why did you say that? And I'd give him the feedback. And Bill's a fast learner, man. He's off and running. 10 grand in his first 2 weeks, guys. I didn't do 10 grand in my first 2 weeks. He's bad to the bone. So those are the key things for having foundational leadership, okay? Foundational techniques create a foundational leader. And you just got to just start it from the bottom, going to the top, and be a great sponsor. Shower your people with attention until you know they're wanting to work. Okay, just like Richard said, Richard's a very smart man. Work with the people who want to work. You can want it for somebody all day long, but if they don't want it for themselves, you can't help them. Okay, I tell people, I'm the captain of my ship. If you're not inclined to follow the way we're building here as a team, and you want to go off on your own, I'm going to give you a life jacket, and I'm going to nudge you away from the boat, and you just go ahead and float off into your own world, okay? But we're going forward as a team, and we're going to go forward together, and we want you with us, but you got to be teachable and coachable. That's my man Bill Sale. He's teachable and coachable. I'm teachable and coachable. Richard Anzalone and Faraday have given me just unbelievable coaching and teaching, and I'm a sponge absorbing everything from them. So I know I've given a lot of information. I don't want to take up everybody's time tonight. I want to thank everybody for plugging in with that. And being a leader is just walking the walk, folks. That's it. It's walking the walk, stepping up, and going from there. I want to give a shout out to my man Daryl Beckett. Daryl Bennett is just unbelievable. He's brought in a professional, an ex-professional baseball player that played for the Yankees and won a World Series. Dennis Worth. Dennis's son's playing for the Mets, I believe. And Dennis just signed up, broke his cherry, signed up his first man tonight. Glenn Gooden, man. So we're working with them. I want to give the Pals a big shout out, man. Those folks are awesome. I've got to work with them real closely, and they're fantastic people, the most professional people, man. I mean, just super professional, great folks like that. We got great people like Bill Shum. He's an emerging leader in our group. Teresa Puglia, which I murdered her last name. I'm sorry, Teresa. And then we've got other people on my team. Richard C. Richard C. works 14 hours a day, 12 to 14 hours a day. If anybody tells you they don't have time to work this business, Ask them if they'd like $20,000. Okay, Richard C. has made 20 grand in his first 2 months, and he's made 14 grand in his last 2 weeks. And he is a dynamo, but he owns a business, and he has to work 12 to 14 hours every day. Don't let people tell you that. So we've got some great people. David Dodds is a great guy in our group. Chuck Conway is a great guy in the group. Chuck brought in 16 Emperor packages last week. And I think Faraday is still having vapors from when she saw the 16 come in and gave her that big check. So thank you, Faraday. Thank you, Chuck. All right, everybody. This is Bob Klutz. I'm in Houston. I'm out.
All right. Thank you, Bob. That was fantastic. And you guys, I mean, that is some really great stuff that we haven't covered. And I actually can use some improvement in a lot of those departments. I need to get myself a big folder so I can keep up with all my follow-ups, because I talk to so many people that it's often very hard to follow up. And yeah, that's created, his team's created a whole lot of momentum. And, you know, before I'm going to bring up Dan to talk a little bit more on, you know, his input on leadership, let me just say, for the new person watching, and you hear about all these Emperor packages coming in, and you're like, oh my gosh, how are they getting all these Emperors? And you're like, I just don't know where they're doing it. You know, honestly, I probably, now, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I know that I've probably brought in more single Emperor packages maybe than anyone in the company. Now, I haven't done all these big packages like some folks are doing, like Jason Sim, but the majority, listen to this, the majority of people that I get to come in as Emperors are just people that I meet on Facebook. You know, honestly, you know, people, when they understand the full extent of this opportunity, that's what they want to do. They want to do it, and you don't really even have to push them. But the key here is you have to be consistently in the process. Now, every one of us does it a little bit different, but consistently exposing it, getting the people to the Hangouts, you know, getting people, whether it's email to the capture page, some people like traffic, always in the process. Now, let me share a story. Now, with some people, if they're in the process, this can happen very, very fast. Now, you know, with Bill Sale, getting Bob on the phone, using those 3 ways, utilizing your upline. Some people, it doesn't happen right away. They're like, I'm telling people, and why don't I have it happening? You know what? There's a brand new guy, Jay Brown, just came in. Now, how did I get Jay? A new leader, Bob talked about Bill Shum, just came in 2 weeks ago, emerging leader. I got Jay the same way that I got Bill, which is what I've trained everybody how to do. You're responding to Facebook requests. On both of those, as is the majority of my sponsorships, I simply start a conversation with people on Facebook and thank them for requesting me as a friend. I don't know which ones are going to bite, which ones aren't. I know that I'm going to expose his business to as many people as I can on a daily basis. So, Bill, you know, I mean, I could probably pull up my my conversation with him, and it would be pretty much the same as how I thank everybody for being my friend. And then I throw a story out there. Bob talked about memorizing these stories so that you can tell 2 or 3 stories in conversation that creates curiosity, that gets them to ask you for more information, and then you use one of the tools, the Hangouts. Well, Jay just came on board, and he's put me on a few three-ways right away. And yesterday, he calls me. I'm out on one of my bike rides. I like to bike and dial 20 miles a day. Bob knows because he's heard me, when I'm huffing and puffing going up over this one hill. But Jay puts me on with a lady. Actually, he didn't. He didn't know how to do a three-way. He's like an internet marketer. And I said, well, put her on the phone. And he says, well, I've never done a three-way. And I said, I didn't have a pen with me. Now, this is the truth. Dave was not caught up with me on the bike ride. So I called Dave. I was like, Dave, whenever you come, get me a pen because I gotta write down these numbers because I can't memorize the number to do the three-way call. And he's like, well, I'm nowhere near you. He says, get down in the ground and write it down on the, take a stick and write it down in the mud. So I'm like stopping on the bike ride because I'm like, I can't remember these two numbers to do the three-way. And I'm like taking the stick and I'm writing it down in the mud so I could call this lady that Jay Brown had. And then actually I call this lady. She sounds actually fantastic. And I was like, wow, what a high quality lady. And, she was a little bit busy at that time and she was going to call me back. So anyway, I call Jay back because we never quite completed the three-way call. And I was like, how did you get this lady? She's fantastic. And the funny story, now this is what happens when you're in the process exposing the business. Now, he was in, obviously he just got involved with I2g. So before that, he was in another program. And he had a video out on this other program. And the lady had contacted him on his video about this other program, but he told her, no, this is something much more exciting. This sounds way better. This is hot. This is what you're looking for. And he told her about, I2g, and got her ear, told an income story about his upline, and sent her a hangout. And so the lady calls me today, and guess what? From somebody that contacted him on a video for another opportunity, she is coming on board, and she says she wants to bring 200 people all at the same time. She has 7 partners, and with this project, she wants to go gangbusters, gung-ho with this. And she wants them all to come in at the same time. And she's got big goals and big ambitions. She says, I need to make $250,000 a week. She says, because I've got this $1.8 million house that I want to buy in September. So, I want to go at this big. And guess what? Jay didn't know her from Adam until the other day. I didn't know Jay. I didn't know Bill Shum. I didn't know the majority of the people that come into my group on a daily basis. But you know what? I'm in that process daily. Even when I'm so busy with three-way calls with the team, like Richard said, that are putting me to work, the ones that are utilizing me, that are showing the hangout, then getting me on there for that third-party validation, or getting Dave on for that third-party validation, Dan or Bob. All of us know the power of the third-party validation to help you. I get a lot of people, they say, I can't get anybody. Well, have you put me on the phone with anybody? Because that's what we're here. We want you guys to be successful, and we're here so you can borrow our story. And also, when you call, put me on the phone with someone, guess what? You're hearing what I say to the people. Whenever I get involved with anything, I always want to do 3 ways with my upline because I hear their pitch. And I get where I know it inside out, because I don't want to have to continue to rely on my upline, but I want to know what they say in the beginning so that I can go become a leader myself and do the same thing for my downline. So let me tell you what Bob did. Bob, in the first few days that he got on board, He put me to work. He put Richard to work nonstop with three-way calls. And you know what? Within a few days, all of a sudden, I'm not hearing from Bob anymore. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Bob doesn't like me anymore. I mean, I guess, I guess he doesn't need me anymore. But you know what? Bob is a quick study. He already learned what he needed to say to people, how he needed to say it. He perfected it. He learned it. He's got his what he wants to say to people down, and he's out doing it for his team now. So you want to step up as a leader, but you become a leader by first being a good follower and learning everything you need to learn. So with that, I just got inspired to tell you guys about that. I would like to bring up Dan Sylvester. Now, he has only been involved with our company a short time, but I thought he had valuable input. He's been bringing in emperors every single week. He's barely got started, but he understands leadership. He understands three-way calls. He's done this 6 times, with 6 other programs going to the top. So I'd like Dan. I thought there was no one better to talk on the points of leadership and give the feedback and a little bit about as it applies to I2g. Dan, thank you for being on here tonight.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Oh, fantastic. I got to follow that stuff, I tell you. I wrote 5 pages of notes on Bob alone. 5 pages. I've done this for 25 years. I have been successful, and it wasn't because of my brains. I just had a burning desire to change the quality of my life. That's it. And that's what you look for. And I thought Richard hit a couple of points were great, and I think we should just can what they said, and that's the training. I'll add my 2 cents to it too, but I would love to see, because I think I missed some things with Bob. I'd love to see those notes on the folders and everything. I am going to work on those folders tonight. I love this because it's Sunday night. It's absolutely gorgeous out. I mean, and what are we doing? We're in here because we want to change the quality of other people's lives. That's what you got. You got an opportunity here. I'm excited about this. I was lucky enough 25 years ago to be exposed to an opportunity, didn't understand the industry at all. No one ever approached me. I didn't even know what circles were, and never could understand that and the pyramid concept and all that stuff. And I hit a grand slam, and I went to the top of that company in 14 months, and I don't say that to brag or boast. I just want to tell you, if you copy what Bob is telling you and Richard's telling you, and if you just copy that and get your verbiage down, your verbiage might not be the same as Bob's or Richard's, but you get your verbiage down where you can basically talk to people. And I mean, he hit it right on the head. I'm looking for the why almost immediately. If I'm not getting the why, I'm not spending too much time. And I do have a problem. I mean, I have gone to the top of 6 companies, but I have the disease that's fatal in MLM, network marketing. And that's where I want it more than the people want it. And it drives me nuts. And I'm getting better at it. As I've been working with Richard, I'm getting a little better at it. You know, he swears that I put him on with 50 people in the first week. And I don't think it was 50. It was probably 48. But he says, my God, does anybody not love you? And I says, no, of course they do. I love people. And then he said something really impacted me. They don't have to love you, Dan. They just got to do it. And I've been chasing those people, and I know better. I'm good in this industry, and I know better, and I'm chasing them. And this is not a convincing business. It's a sorting business. You just sort until you get the Bob of the world, or Richard of the world, or Faraday, or Dave. I've known Dave and Faraday for 20 years. I've known Richard for a good 17 years. And we've been never really worked together, but I've known them and been on conference calls with them. And if I could add just a couple of words of wisdom from a old salt pro, and it didn't matter what industry you were in. I've been successful in about 3 different industries, but when network marketing gets in your veins, baby. You can't spit it out. I can't get rid of it. I absolutely love it. I've retired and came back out of retirement, but you got to get out of the 6 inches between your ears. I want to know right away, really quick, if you're left brain or right brain. And I don't know what it is. I attract left brain people, the ones that dot the I's and cross all the T's. Drives me friggin' nuts, because the reality of it is you got to work on getting between the 12 inches between your head and your heart. That's what you got to do. One other thing, and I'll make it short because I'm just got to rewrite these notes that Bob was talking about. He was absolutely fantastic, and Richard always is fantastic. But I would recommend, and you know, to some people these are obscene incomes that are people are making. I've never seen 3 millionaires made in the first 6.5 months of a company. Never. There's 3 barking on the door. You know, Faraday's going through the other numbers. You know, there's probably 60, 70 that's done 20K. Now Bob's probably going to have that in his organization. But and there's 160 or something, 70 that are making 10K. And then but what's great about it is there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that are making $100, $200, $300, $500 a week. If you serve the masses, you'll dine with the classes. This is absolutely perfect business for it. If you serve the masses, you'll dine with the classes. You want to go after everybody that's sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. We have a little over a 90-day madman cycle. And why I've been successful is I just put the blinders on, and I've done it in a very short amount of time here, and I've made some mistakes. I can tell the mistakes, just as Faraday said. You know, she's listening to Bob, and I've made mistakes. So what I'm going to do is regroup and correct those mistakes. This is a 25-year veteran saying this, you know. But what you want to do is put together a 90-day madman cycle. You want to get into this thing August 1st when they have, or July, whatever it is, end of last week of July, first week of August. August 1st is the anniversary of this company. You're talking to a guy that's only been in a few weeks. But you want to do a 90-day madman cycle. If you ain't contacting 10 people a day, you're not going to make money. You got to reach out to people and tell them, I don't know exactly what this is about. It would take me 2 hours to figure it out, to tell you about it, and I can put you on the phone with probably somebody who can do it in 3 minutes. And then what you do is you get a support mechanism, email that recorded hangout, or the 10-minute or the 2-minute 23 seconds. They'll either get it. And then you don't chase people. And that's my problem. I'll chase them, and I probably shouldn't, because I have a lot of names and numbers that I could go after that I have not done. And, you know, I'm telling you the down and dirty about this business, but I plan on being one of the leaders of this company, and I'm bringing leaders in. I've got some fabulous people. I mean, I'm loading up that Spanish-English deal that Richard's doing in Indio, and I'm up in Oregon. And there's a hint there. I have always been a long-distance sponsor. It doesn't matter where you're at. Long-distance sponsor. This is not going to Starbucks and figuring out who's going to pay for the coffee. 20 minutes down there, 20 minutes back, you could contact 10 people. That's what you want to do. A 90-day madman or a 90-day mad woman with Faraday, woman cycle, and don't look up. Just go, 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 go. That 90 days will determine your income for the rest of your life. Absolute rest of your life. Amen. Back to you. Bob was fantastic. Richard's fantastic. Faraday, I can't wait for Dave to close it out.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was fabulous. I mean, you kept it short, but you hit some key things. 90. I love that, called 90-day madman cycle. Dave's called it the 90-day plan, but I think I like this better, 90-day madman cycle. You know, and that's what it takes. and I'm going to bring David. So we're ready a little bit over an hour. Everybody is hanging on. So, you know, Dave, I know could go on for a long time. It's some great training. But, Dave, why don't you just say some really few pertinent tips, important things going forward in the weeks ahead, and close it up.
I think I'm muted.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. You know, guys, in this last hour, you've really gotten a lot of information. There's a lot here, and there's a lot of things. But if you go back and as you listen to this replay, and you want to go over these trainings, just because you see them here live tonight, what you want to do is go back to these replays and pay attention to some close things that are happening here, because repetition is the mother of skill, okay? Repetition is the mother of skill. And what's going to happen is, through the last 4 weeks that we've done our trainings, you notice now we're going in through 6 months. We had to create the stories. We had to create a lot of different things, okay? But the last 4 weeks, what has been consistent is the leadership and the trainings with all the same types of application, just maybe a little bit different technique, just a little different. But here's the one thing that doesn't waver. They are putting on new people, talking with new people. See, I have a lot of people, it's kind of funny because I get hit with this all the time, and it's not, they say it's not going fast enough. And I say a few things to them. I haven't talked to anybody for you yet, so who are you using? What are you doing? Because I want you to see a repetition of some stuff that's happened here, and pay attention. Dan used Richard. Bob used Farrah. Tim, Edwards. Okay? Every different leader has a different, everybody has used somebody different to build their business to get faster results. Once they learned what all we said was the same things, guess what? They didn't need us anymore. See, they started creating their own leadership. And that's how all leaders are born. They're not born, they're developed. Okay? Leaders are developed, and that's where you need to go. And so if it's not going fast enough for you, here's what I always tell people, and I do this over and over. You know, I always tell people, a lot of people are busy doing nothing. Okay? What did you do today? Keep a fig and a gauge. How many people did you really talk to today? You know, I did this privately with some people the other day, and they, you know, and I said, look, did you really talk to anybody, or did you intend to while you got the office ready, while you made mud ditches, while you made sure you got everything ready for your office? How many did we really talk to? See, because if you're not talking and exposing new people, it's really not going to work for you. Okay? That's the one thing that's going on. Dan said a couple key points here. Actually, Bob hit a whole bunch. But there's one thing that I learned a long time ago, and Richard hit on it too, and I've gotten real good at it because I learned from a master that taught me this, is not to chase people. I don't chase them. You guys already know that. If you guys don't expose me, and I already know who's calling me with a complaint, or if they're ready to put me on with people. I learned that with my phone. There's a reason I lock you in. So I know who I am speaking with. Because do you really think I want to do customer service when we have employees that do that? Seriously, guys. If you think I'm going to answer your customer service, I am treating you as a bad leader. I'm a bad leader for you, okay? You need to use customer service. You need to work with your people to talk and expose people on how we make money. And the best thing to do, and I'm going to close this with this, is learn how we make money with I2g. If you do not understand how you make your weekly money with I2g, that will explain your weekly results. Let me share something with you, and I'm going to close it with this. On Fridays, it is the absolute worst day to ever try to get a hold of Farrah, myself, Richard, or Susan. You will not do it. Everybody knows it. You won't get us till after 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern time. There is a reason for that. It's where our week ends. You understand that we knew where our week ended this week when it was the biggest week ever, and we knew what teammates scored, and also those that didn't. Those that talked about it, but didn't. We get to see the talent. See? So we want to help you, but you've got to help yourself. With that, guys, we've had an awesome training here tonight. Really go back over the replay. Obviously, I could go on and on. Here's the thing. Work on yourself and work on understanding how you get paid. And then tally up with a pen. How many people do you talk to a day? It's real simple. Not rocket science. Back to you, Faraday. Awesome training here tonight. Guys, we look forward to working with you. We're closing in on the second week of the month here coming up. We're halfway through the month. We're driving our teams now. We've already picked our teams, just so you know. We're already picking our teams that are going for the bonuses. I will say this. I do believe that there'll be a couple teams that will come on that haven't even heard of I2g yet that will make the first month qualification for silver bonus, for the bronze bonus, for the first bonus. They're going to make it. They're going to hit their 125 cycles immediately within the next 2 weeks. You'll be seeing them on the next trainings. Mark my words on that, because we have some major thoroughbreds in the making. Are you one? We're willing to take you with us. Thanks. Back to you, Faraday.
All right, thank you, Dave. That was fantastic. And so I will close with the saying, go fast or go broke, that Bob Klutz said. I love that. Go fast or go broke. And anyway, this was, thank you so much to Bob Klutz, to Richard, to our good buddy Dan, to Dave, and I hope everybody got some good value. We are going to be releasing some information to you. Me and Dave are testing out some systems, you know, so something a little bit more sophisticated than just my friend request system. We're testing some things out, so stand by, because we might be bringing something very exciting to you very shortly. And you guys, thank you for spending your time with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the very next Hangout. Have a good evening, everybody.